Hey everybody, we're going to try something kind of interesting today. We'll just call this line direction letters. So you can make multiple ones of these and spell out any word you want. I just spelled out my name, M-O-O-S. So you could kind of get the idea of what I was doing. Um, I did these kind of small. These are 3" by 3" squares. Once you get the idea, you can make them any size you want. I'm going to put these up here towards the top for a moment, and then I'm going to use a larger piece of paper, a 6" by 6" paper, to do the demonstration so you get an idea of what I did. These were done with a ballpoint pen, and then these other two were done with a Sharpie marker. So depending on what kind of look you want, if you want the thinner lines, you could use a pen. If you want thicker lines, you could use a Sharpie. You could use crayons or colored pencils or things like that, other things too. So experiment with it and see what you like best. But let's get started and we'll show you what everything is as far as the steps. So what I did to start out with is I just really lightly drew a border around the outside of my box. Okay, so I even drew this a little bit darker than I would normally do this because I want you to be able to see it on the screen, but you really want to do this as lightly as possible. Okay, and then go ahead and do whatever letter you want. Okay, so whatever word you're going to spell. Okay, and what you want is a block letter style. Okay, so there's a few different ways to do block letters. Some people like to just do the block letters straight away. Some people like this little trick where you do the letter first and then you trace around the letter, and then you can take your pencil and you can erase the regular letter, and then you're left with the block letter on the outside. So that's a cool trick, and that works for just about any of the letters. So that's another way to do it. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just choose one type of line. I'm not going to actually outline the letter, I'm just going to fill in the background. Okay, so for example, for this one, let's just do straight lines. You can do curving lines and other things, but you have to be careful. Straight lines seem to be ones that work the best with this, but as long as you leave a little space around your line, you'll be okay. So start with one of the directions. So I'm going to start with a vertical direction for now, and since I started with that in the border here, I'm going to continue all the way around, filling the border with vertical lines. Okay, I'll give you some time to work on that, and we can click pause here, and then when you've got that all finished up, we'll move on to the next part. Alright, so I've got those vertical lines going on there. It doesn't always have to be perfectly straight. As long as the direction is mostly the same, it'll be okay. So then when I switch to the next section, I'm going to switch to horizontal lines. So there's a couple ways to do this. If you're okay with it and you like doing the horizontal lines actually horizontally, then just go and just don't touch the pencil line. Okay, stop before you get to the pencil line. If it's more comfortable for you, you can turn it and then you're doing vertical lines again, but since you rotated it 90 degrees, you don't have any problem there. So I'm going to fill this whole section in, and I'm just going to stop my line before it gets to the pencil line. Okay, so I'm filling in this shape before it gets to the pencil line. I'm stopping my line so that I have a little bit of separation between the two types of patterns. Okay, so work on that, Click pause if you need to. When you're done with that, we'll continue. Alright, so we've got that done. So now we're going to move to the next part, which is to rotate back the way that you started before, and then fill this shape in with the first pattern again. So every time you change levels, you're going to change your line direction. So we're going to go close to those lines, but we're going to stop before we get to them. So there's a little bit of separation between the two. You can kind of see it working already with the pattern here, in that you've left a little bit of space in between by not touching those lines, and that helps the shape to appear as a little bit of negative space, just a tiny bit of negative space. Okay, so you can see the A, everything's filled in, but it allows it to show up. If you get really close to those lines, it'll be actually a little more difficult, okay, to see the letter, which might make it a little harder to read, but it might actually make it more of like a secret message sort of thing. Then I just take my eraser, and if you drew those lines really lightly, it should not be any trouble to lightly erase those guidelines and make them kind of disappear. And then that sort of hides those guidelines from people when they're looking at the final design. Okay. So that's it. It's kind of an interesting look with the two different line patterns and line directions. You can try some different things. Some patterns are going to work better than others and be more readable. Some are going to start to hide the letter a little bit more, but give it a try. Try some different colors, spell out something. Just an interesting way of using line and pattern to do it. Here's an example of an O that didn't work out so well. Okay, you can't really see it very well. The zigzag lines kind of hid everything in there, and I went really close, and I went right up to and touched the pencil line, and so it's very difficult to actually see the O from a distance on that because I didn't leave enough space around the lines. So every once in a while you'll run into one that doesn't work very well. So try it out, see what you get. Talk to you guys later. Bye.